Digital 410 Productions proudly presents the What's in Your Head podcast.
Digitized live from
your company name here.
Studios in Cape Coral, Florida. It's the What's in Your Head podcast.
What's up? What's up? OG5. We're back from a long fishing trip. Boy, howdy. You want to talk about a trip you better be glad you weren't on. If you had to make a conservative estimate, Mr. Morgan Long, what's the furthest distance you've paddled in one day?
Probably about 30 miles.
That's a damn one. That's a good one. We did, not counting float time and fishing, just measuring it out on Google Maps, 9.83 miles. But 50% of it was during 18-mile-an-hour gust of wind.
I was gonna say that it was a hard
10 miles.
9.8.
Was it like the place we went in the Cape where every which way you went it was a headwind?
Yeah, but this was in saltwater off of the mangroves off of Pine Island, Match.
Oh, that's tough, man. I've done that one and really not interested in doing it again.
The good news is, like, the last, I don't know, half of the day, I'm working on the video footage now, but the last 4 miles was like being on the log flume at your favorite fucking amusement park. No paddling involved, waves, wind blowing. I wish I would have had my fish finder clocking the speed, but I mean, we're literally just moving at a couple of knots, and you just put your paddle in the water just to straighten out your boat. It was just pushing us all the way back. It was insane.
That's like the Peace River trip.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, a lot of steering, not a lot of paddling.
It was
well, the question is did you catch a bunch of fish?
Well, what happened was I didn't catch
what
shit. Mike caught a few. And he was catching snook on fucking artificial, on a fake.
Oh, no kidding.
On a fake
Good job,
shrimp
Mike.
lure with an embedded hook that I gave him a while back, that he dipped his dangler in some yellow goo to make it nice and shiny. But yeah, he hooked up on a huge one. We'll just say you have to wait till the video comes out to see what happens with that one. But
I wouldn't say it was huge, but it was a decent fish.
Mm-hmm.
It certainly wasn't the biggest one I've ever seen or ever hooked, but it would have been
generally
a decent fish for our average trips.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, when you dip your dangler in some yellow goo, you just take a little penicillin and it clears it right up.
Yeah,
well, first you gotta get the old Cotton Eye Joe.
Yeah, that's kind of what it was.
Do you think they do that, like the whole cotton up the urethra? Do you think it's medically necessary, or they just say, hey, you know what? If we took this 8-inch Q-tip and shoved it up these young kids' urethra, maybe they'll start wearing condoms. Maybe they won't have to keep coming back for STD test.
Is that the same treatment now?
I don't know. I've been in the same relationship for 16 years, but that's what it was in the late 90s.
Well, I mean,
after my wife went out and fell on someone
know.
else's cock, I went out and got tested, and unbeknownst to me, that's part of the test. Yeah, so the old Cotton Eye Joe.
Wow.
The old Cotton Eye Joe, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I guess the good news for me is they only need like a 2-inch Q-tip.
It's like they bring out the over the counter. They bring out the over the counter 2.5-inch. Actually, they're probably shorter than that.
Cut it in half.
And then Morgan's like, I can still feel it in my prostate.
So real
they
quick,
just had to break out the regular old ear Q-tips for him.
Yeah, and cut it in half.
Yeah.
But while we were listening to that music, I heard a joke embedded in there that made me think. It's like one of my favorite old, like, Catskill, Rodney Dangerfield, Henny Youngman kind of jokes. Guy and a girl are out on a date, and things were getting pretty heavy, and she goes, "Kiss me where it smells." So he drives her to New Jersey.
Take my wife, please.
Kiss
I just
me
flew
where
in
it
and
Thank you,
boy,
I'll
my
be here
arm's
all week.
tired. She grabbed me by the ears and said, "Kiss me where it smells funny." Quality,
Try the
quality
veal.
music. There must be something
Try the
wrong with
veal.
Al Pacino's nose. For the scent of a woman smells like 3-day Dominoes. Oh, good old Bloodhound Gang. I don't know if my buddy was lying to me. Before the show, guys, we were listening to some Bloodhound Gang. And so that was like one of the albums I melted down in my car CD player because we listened to it so much. I had to buy like 2 copies. But my buddy Michael P. went and saw them play at Al Rosa Villa. Now for this, Al Rosa Villa, that's the place where Dimebag Darrell got shot. But he went and saw them at Al Rosa Villa, or maybe on downtown campus at OSU. But he claims, and I can't say he's bullshitting, he could have been going for the laugh, but he claims, okay, for those of you who don't know, I just played, before the show, I played a couple of their songs, and I said, well, here's one everybody knows, which is, The Roof is on Fire, the monotone rap song. The roof is on fire. We don't need no water. Let that motherfucker burn, burn, motherfucker burn. So that song was a mainstream rock station hit. That's one of those, hey, this is a hip hop song, but because it has guitars in it, we could play it on the air. I'm going to say it. As a previous employee of K-Rock, did you guys ever notice that the only version of the Gorillaz song they played was the remix that had guitar tracks in it? Yeah, so I'm happy, I'm feeling sad, I got sunshine. Clint Eastwood. So the Gorillaz big K-Rock would only play the remix version that actually had electric guitar tracks in it so that it met the rock standard of being played on the radio station. They wouldn't play the actual LP version of it. And I've seen that on a few rock stations.
I didn't know that the guitar version existed.
Yeah, I didn't either until I heard it playing on the radio station. But the reason I bring
that
up...
Go
ahead.
Is that like playing No Sleep Till Brooklyn because it's got a guitar riff in it?
Precisely. So that song was played in Columbus on their rock station, which insane. The woman who was the on-air DJ in 1996, Ronnie Hunter, in 99.7 The Blitz, the same woman who played the song that from one of my demo CDs from my band Snowblind, because they're in the studio. This is after I left the band. That woman is still there and is the program director. That's like Stan and Haney amount of time. Yeah, she's still the active program director. But anyhow, I bring all that up to say this. So for those of you who don't know, the name that band is kind of a joke band. All their songs are funny. They're that's the same band who dressed up in the Monkees and You and Me, Baby Ain't Nothing But Mammals. Do like doing Discovery Channel.
Oh, that's who that is.
That's who that is. But the early stuff was better than that stuff. But the name of the band is the Bloodhound Gang. Now, for anybody younger than 30, well, be fair, 37 and a half, they don't understand what Bloodhound Gang is.
Older than 50.
Well, if you're older than 50, you know what the Bloodhound Gang was. And if you're older than 45, you know what and them being a joke band, they use the most wholesome name you could use for a band who have songs such as Kiss Me Where It Smells Funny, the song where he's singing his love ballad to porno star Chasey Lane saying, you've had a lot of dick, I've had a lot of time, you've had a lot of dick, Chasey, but you ain't had mine. Such classic hits like that. To use a wholesome name like the Bloodhound Gang, for those of you who don't know, the Bloodhound Gang was a PBS show about a kids detective group on PBS in like 1977 and a half. So that was the Bloodhound Gang. So my buddy Mike came home the next day from the Bloodhound Gang concert, and he swears that some church group heard that the Bloodhound Gang was playing at the Al Rosa Villa and thought it was like some PBS made-up band thing and took their youth group to the Bloodhound Gang concert, and was, boy howdy, were they shocked and surprised when they started coming out, with such songs such as Kiss Me Where It Smells Funny and other great hits, One Fierce Beer Coaster, etc., etc. So whether it was true or not, it was funny at the time, and if it was true, that I would have loved to have seen the looks on like that youth pastor's face, like, oh, we got to collect the kids and get out of here post haste because this is horrendous.
This was a poor decision. This is not for the Lord.
Shame on whoever didn't do their due diligence.
Well, what due
I mean,
diligence
come
is there
on,
to
it's like-
do? I mean, wait 45 minutes for America Online to log in. I mean, they didn't have YouTube back then, so it's not like they could look up the video for that. And no,
Well, I can tell you though that a lot of people in the ministry are very sheltered people, and they have no idea what's what.
and we're talking
You have to have
34 years ago.
it doesn't matter. I mean, there are like straight up Christian kids. Like my wife growing up was not allowed to listen to top 40 music. And, until she was like a teenager and she just started doing it, when you got, your headphones or whatever. So I'll say, hey, do you remember XYZ? And she's like a year and 3 months younger than me. And she'll be like, yeah, I never heard that.
And it was such a different
wow,
time.
you shit.
Yeah.
You led a sheltered life. Well, and that's the thing. It's like I grew up in an era where they wouldn't play George Michael's I Want Your Sex until 9 o'clock. So everybody tuned in to the top 40 station in Portland, Oregon, which was Z100.
And that's Portland, mind you. That's let your freak fly flag. Welcome to Funky Town. Imagine towns in Kentucky, towns in suburbs in Ohio. For those of you listening, 35 years ago wasn't that long ago, but pop culturally and religiously, that same time I went to my roommate Brad's family reunion, and he was a huge Kiss fan. He has Ace Frehley tattooed on his chest. We went to his family reunion in 1998. His aunt was there, and she was still holding on to the Knights in Satan service shit from the late 70s. So people were that backwards into, I don't listen to Kiss. My husband and my pastor said they're Satan worshipers and they stand for Knights in Satan service. That was still going on in the 90s. It stands for keeps it simple,
Simmons
stupid.
Is like a straight up,
ascetic
practicing Jew.
Yeah, I mean,
come on, man.
But see, that goes to show, and sad as it is, some of that shit's still around 10 years ago. I won't say the person's name. We had an employee at the radio station who wanted the Monster Energy sign taken down. It's in my garage.
Oh my gosh. That is so evil.
Because Monster Energy, owned by Coca-Cola, hired a marketing firm who had probably a 20-year-old sitting behind Adobe saying, hey, they want something, make it look like a panther clawed through a black can. Okay, well, what color is the beverage? Green. So the Monster Energy can is claw marks from a monster, and it's green because that if you separate the signals of the claw marks, it looks like the Arabic symbol for evil, or like sticks. It's the Arabic symbol. So the reason the Monster Energy sign's in my garage is because there's an employee who thought it was representative of evil and the devil, and it had to go. So the shit's still around, but it was far worse back then. And it's insane to me how people buy it. It's like, no, some 18-year-old and like Photoshop and a marketing company came up with that. There was no big fucking, and furthermore, don't you think the Illuminati has something better to do than make energy drinks?
Well, and the thing about Monster, the only evil thing about that is it tastes like the devil took a piss and they filtered it and put it in a fucking can.
Now, I can't, this isn't me speaking out against Monster. I'm not saying this was the cause. What I'm saying is at that time, I was working 2 jobs. I was consuming 2 Monster Whites, a bottle of 5 Energy, and about 4 Mountain Dews a day to stay awake. And I did end up with 2 2-millimeter kidney stones. And
probably would have been better to smoke crack, man.
Oh, I was falling asleep at stoplights on the way home, driving down Metro and shit. But no, I ended up passing 2 kidney stones from that shit. So I'm not saying that's what it's from, but
yeah, don't get me wrong, man. I dig an orange Monster every now and again.
This is the only thing I drink, and I've been drinking this since 1996. Now this is the Arizona Energy, and it's just ginseng and fucking citrus and other bullshit. So
yeah, all I got is orange Mio and some vodka. That's all you need.
Hey.
Wow, that's, you know what that reminds me of? Speaking of old shit from 30 years ago, mixing Zimas with Kool-Aid and or Jolly Ranchers. That was a thing in Ohio.
Oh, God,
Well,
that was awful.
gotta keep in mind we're a high schooler, so we're underage drinking. You know,
Well, and you know, so while we're on that subject, we'll go
we here at
way
Digital
back
410
into
do
time.
not endorse or suggest or promote underage drinking. These are simply tales of a different time by three immature kids who were doing things the wrong way. Do not follow what we say. These are simply hyperbole and made up facts for fun and your entertainment. Carrying a firearm daily comes with serious responsibilities. Responsibilities your everyday counterparts may not have to consider. Knowing where you can and cannot legally bring your firearm is crucial. But sometimes, life takes you places where carrying isn't an option. That's where the Stopbox Pro portable gun safe comes in. Securely store your firearm in your vehicle while handling life's obligations. Safety, responsibility, and with peace of mind. Stopbox Pro. Protection when you need it. Security when you don't. For more information, visit stopboxusa.com/D410.
So this is all allegedly.
Allegedly.
Back in the 80s, there was a company called California Cooler. And what they did was they made wine coolers. And they made them in 2-liter bottles.
That wasn't Bartles and
Yeah.
James.
It was not, but thank you for your support. So they had the most awful peach flavored wine coolers.
You can't even get a fucking
2-liter
40 in the state of Florida, and we're a free state. Meanwhile, back in Cal, you're getting 2 liters of a malt beverage. Not even
Well,
malt
it was-
beverage, but
it- Yeah. So, by the way, where I am, you can get 40s.
well,
So
you
I'm going to
can
go find a 40
You
of,
can in
40
Ohio
of
too.
OE.
What was the name of that company?
Don't forget to pour some out for the homies.
Please.
That's right. I'm going to pour some out because Lord knows I can't drink a 40 these days.
What was the name of that company?
California Cooler. And it was the most god awful thing. And I drank 2 of them one night.
Whoa.
Jesus.
And I got so sick. So that was probably 40 plus years ago. And to this day, if I smell peach flavored beverage or a peach flavored air freshener, it makes me want to retch.
Okay.
It's
California coolers, initially marketed as wine coolers, were also sold in a 2-liter bottle. The drink, originally named Canada Cooler, was redesigned by Glenn Martinez and associates and later sold in a large format. California Cooler, this was a popular brand of coolers, gained immense popularity in the 1980s. Yeah, California Cooler was not only available smaller, but 2 liters. I want to know what the alcohol content was in that. Let's hit up.
I don't know, but you drink 2 of them and it's plenty, trust me. It's like alcohol poisoning level. So I kid you not, it was like an 80s teen movie. I drank 2 of those, and my buddy lived in, one of the fancier neighborhoods in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up with the sprinkler hitting me in the face Saturday morning, looking down, hoping it was my puke I was covered in. And people jogging down the sidewalk, and I'm like, hey, good morning. And they're like, good morning. And I'm like, oh, God, this is the lowest that I've ever been in my short, 15 years of life.
So here we go. The California Cooler, an iconic beverage, especially popular in the 1980s, was originally packaged in a 750 milliliter glass bottle and later in 2-liter bottles as well. These were among the first mass-marketed wine coolers in the United States. The alcohol by volume for a California Cooler was typically around 4.0 to 6.0. This made it comparable to beer strength and significantly lower than standard table wines. Well, obviously, it's not stable table wines, but could you imagine drinking a 2-liter of Coors Light, 2 liters of Miller Lite?
No. No, I mean, just imagine, and don't even
Just the
make it
bloat
light.
alone.
Just imagine drinking like a 2 liter of Budweiser or something like that. Oh my gosh. I mean, you would explode.
You would make Tom Hanks' character in A League of Their Own blush at how long you would be pissing at that urinal.
You should be walking around screaming, "There's enough of crying in baseball."
Let's see. It was marketed as a light, refreshing alternative to beer and wine, often made from blends of wine, fruit juice, carbonated water, and sugar. Designed to be easy drinking,
there-
especially for younger and casual drinkers.
Well, I was not casual, but I was younger.
I want to see if it was outlawed or if they just went under. Why did they stop making it? I bet it was outlawed. They had it's fucking 2 liters.
It was because of alcohol poisoning deaths.
It had to be. You can't sell 2 liters. I mean, you got to go to a liquor store to get a party ball. That's a good question. How many liters is in a party ball?
Let's see. Here's the thing that I've never understood about that is, you're going to outlaw a drink, and if we're talking about this one specifically because it's a 2 liter of fucking wine cooler, basically. And you're going to outlaw 40s in the state of Florida, but I can go buy 2 cases of beer and it'd be exactly the same thing.
Or I can buy
what
a 32
difference
ounce.
does it make?
You know what difference it makes? Poor people. Poor people buy 40s. And they scrape their coins together, get a 40, and they're like, "Well, let's sell a 32 ounce for the same price of 40." And they're not going to have enough. They're not going to have enough couch cushions to dig through to afford 2 40s. It has to be. I mean, there's no other reason to outlaw a 40 ounce in Florida.
So let's be honest, and I'm going to preface this with y'all know what y'all know.
And if you don't know,
where
now
do
you
they
know.
sell? Yeah, that's right. But where do they sell 40s?
Convenience stores.
I mean, they're not. Yeah, but in the hood.
Yeah.
You're not buying 40s at the 7-Eleven in Naples.
Yep.
You're
right.
buying 40s at the 7-Eleven in
32
Dunbar.
ounces, but yes, and that's my
But
point.
what I'm saying, yeah,
that's my point.
But
that's
I mean,
what I meant by poor people.
you plug that in. It's like you plug it in anywhere. Ohio,
Yep.
Oregon. You buy 40s at the Korean convenience store in North Portland.
Mm-hmm.
You don't buy it in the 7-Eleven right by Eastmoreland. So but for everybody who isn't a Portland resident, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
They do it against poor people, and you say, well, what is it against? It's not because they're poor. It's because they know poor people tend to get themselves into rowdier situations. It's easier to fuck off when you don't have a job to go to the next day. And so they tend to happen to, and as grew up poor, I've seen it. So, don't think I'm some silver spoon talking dude talking down on poor people. I'm talking about my own. It's.
He said, "I'm talking about the way I grew up, motherfucker."
Yeah, it's. Oh, perfect example.
Morgan's taking a nap.
Yeah, he's so bored of the show he's tuned off. But no, I mean, how many of y'all grew up and you went and you see it nowadays, right? You see the mom and the dad and the kid in 7-Eleven, and they're buying a case of beer, and the kid wants a candy bar. Like, no, we don't have money for that.
Yeah,
you got money for the beer, but you don't have money for the candy bar.
Right.
And so, but yeah, they do it to keep poor people, from getting shit-faced drunk. But once again, 32, 40, what's the extra? It's such a minute difference as far as the size go that it's just a dumb law.
Yeah.
It's got to be one of those weird carryovers. And while we're waiting for him to come back, seeing its success, major beverage companies jumped in. Seagram's introduced Seagram's coolers. Now, Mike, you're too young for this. When Seagram's Golden Wine coolers came out, there was a very famous TV show on at the time. It was called what do they call that when you have a second job? What the hell?
Call it when you have a second job?
Yeah, they used to have a
second job.
No, they used to have a phrase for it.
Or a part-timer?
No, it was I bet Morgan will know.
Maybe if you mentioned it, I might have
Moonlighting.
heard
There
it.
was a phrase called moonlighting. So you would have a job during the
Okay,
day.
yeah.
You know, you're a teacher, and then you couldn't make ends meet, so you'd work at night at a diner. So they would call it moonlighting.
Right.
So in the 80s, there was a very famous TV show on it featured Bruce Willis and a female named Moonlighting. And so at that time, Bruce Willis, this is before Die Hard, mind you. This is Moonlighting what led to Die Hard. But at that time, Bruce Willis became the spokesperson for Seagram's Golden Wine Coolers because he could play a mad harmonica. You probably forgot that, or didn't even know that Bruce Willis can play a mean fucking harmonica.
Yeah.
The Return of Bruno, man, one of the greatest albums ever.
And so he was the spokesperson for Seagram's Golden Wine Coolers. And then, as we were reading here, so Seagram's Seagram's came out with their coolers because of the California cooler. And then from over at E&J Gallo, they came up with Bartles and James, which was probably the biggest commercial since Where's the Beef?
Yeah. Thank you for your support.
So Bartles and James, they were done in a wholesome way. They're too far. I think they actually existed, right? Bartles, were they real people? Or were they?
Yeah, I don't know, but it was like two
comedy
old dudes in coveralls sitting on the front porch.
Yeah,
talking about wine coolers.
Yeah,
like these dudes would ever drink wine coolers.
Yeah, they were done like it was your grandfather's somewhere in Iowa.
Yeah.
And so they were. So you had Bartles and James. Here you go. I'll play a Bartles and James for the audience because I know Mike's not going to have any idea who we're talking about. This is a Bartles and James commercial. Here we go. You know what?
I've heard of Bartles and James before.
Here we go. Is there volume on here? Here.
Ways to use the Bartles and James Hello. There are many ways to use the Bartles and James Premium Wine Cooler. One lady in Massachusetts even uses it to make bread. Well, Ed suggests an even better idea is to use it as a topping. For example, as a topping for ice. This is quick and easy to do and will not only improve the flavor of ice considerably, but will make it more attractive as well. So if you're tired of having your ice just plain, add some Bartles and James. We hope you appreciate this suggestion, and thank you for your support.
So in the 80s, all you had to do was have a catchphrase.
I don't think Ed ever spoke.
No, and that was the thing. Yeah, Ed never spoke, and you always had to have a catchphrase. I mean, you got to remember, this is the TV era when you had Perfect Strangers. What was Balky's catchphrase?
Don't be ridiculous.
Yeah, everybody had, Alf had a catchphrase.
Yeah, and you know what you're talking about, Willis?
Mm-hmm.
You know, gosh, I don't know.
But these Bartles and James commercials were huge, Mike. They were a cultural phenomenon. Yeah. People were turning into TV shows kind of like we do Super Bowls now. It was like, I'm going to watch Alf tonight. I hope a Bartles and James commercial comes on. And people were like recording shows that they wouldn't regularly watch just so they could have the collections of Bartles and James commercials.
Really?
Yes, it was
insane. Wicks.
It was a cultural phenomenon during this wine cooler war. I never knew that.
Well, and when you're, having grown up in the 70s and 80s, it's crazy because ads aren't what they were then. I think that's why the Super Bowl is probably actually now watched more for the game than it is the commercials.
Yep.
Because it's definitely not what advertising was in the 70s and 80s.
Now
everybody had a Super Bowl commercial. Everybody had a great Christmas commercial. And really the only ones that are left that really do that is like Publix. They have their Thanksgiving and Christmas commercials. Everybody else is pretty much shit on network TV advertising.
This commercial's from 1986.
Here in Southern California, many people return to nature to find relief from the chaos and pressure of contemporary urban life. And if you are planning this as well, we wanted to remind you that Ed's new Bartles and James Premium Red Wine Cooler can contribute greatly to the relaxing and tranquil atmosphere of the great outdoors. So if the unspoiled wilderness is
nice square body.
Be sure to take along.
Reminds me of the
Believe me, you will be glad you
Redneck
did.
Yacht Club.
Thanks for your support.
There's that catchphrase. But yeah, I mean these commercials.
So hey, go back to that one for just a second.
People often come.
The one we just watched.
Yeah, the one we just watched.
Hello, here in Southern California,
Okay, never mind. I thought that was
Look at
one
the
of those
big reds in the
GMC
background.
motorhomes. What's that?
Look at the freaking big reds in the background. That was cool. They just went by.
Yeah, well, I thought that was one of those GMC motorhomes.
Yeah.
And I found out the other day that those things had a Toronado driveline in it.
You know what? It's crazy.
So,
I just
so those
realized
motorhomes, those 3-axle motorhomes, were actually front-wheel drive.
it never occurred
Really?
to me because I didn't know anything about motorhomes back then because I was poor. But looking at this, it just, what does this motorhome look like in the background with that canopy up?
I mean, it looks like several things. I mean, it looks like
Spaceballs.
something
Fire
you'd see
truck.
on race day
Spaceballs.
at a NASCAR track.
So in Spaceballs, Bill Pullman and John Candy flew in a
We're going plaid.
mobile home or a RV. I never realized that the
Motorhome, yeah.
wings were canopies up on each side, center
There you
awnings
go.
on each
There
side.
you go.
But yeah, I mean, and so how long did these commercials run? I mean, this one, so
Hello.
this is 1990. I just showed you one from 1983. That's how long of a run these things had.
Hello. Ed and I thought Sunday's big football game would be the perfect place to introduce our exciting new Bartles and James Black Cherry wine cooler. Ed has rented this well-known blimp
That
so
one
all the
was
fans
really
below will know about our fabulous new cooler. Unfortunately, we have discovered that this particular stadium has a roof. This is no doubt the reason we got such a good price on the blimp. Please try our new Black Cherry cooler anyway, and thank you for your support.
And so, if it wasn't for the California cooler, our pop culture would have never been introduced to Bartles and James. But it was California Cooler's corporate takeover and mismanagement. California Cooler was sold to the Wine Group Ltd., a Galileo competitor, in 1985. The new owners struggled to maintain brand identity and the momentum in the increasingly crowded space. The product lost its originality and became just another name in a sea of similar coolers. Changing alcohol and law tax. This is what I thought right here. Here's the real answer. In 1991, the Congress raised a federal excise tax on wine, which affected the wine coolers. To avoid the tax hikes, many brands switched from wine to malt liquor basic. Okay, I really thought they were going to say you couldn't sell fucking wine cooler in a 2-liter bottle, but I guess I was wrong.
Well, I can tell you that the demise of California Cooler was not taxes, was not anything. Is that it tasted like shit and better products came out. literally, the reason that California Cooler was so popular was because in 1986, you could buy a 2-liter for 99 cents. And you could get hammered out of your mind when you're 15 years old. I mean, probably hammered more than out of your mind. I mean, there was a couple of times I'm pretty sure I borderlined on alcohol poisoning.
That's like Four Loko.
But
remember when Four Loko came out, they had to redo it because it had too high of alcohol content.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't have too high of an alcohol content. It just had too high of a volume.
Oh, no. Four Loko was a alcohol energy drink,
No, I'm
right?
talking about California Cooler.
Gotcha. I think Four Loko was an energy drink with alcohol in it. Four
Oh,
Loko
yeah.
varied over the years.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think
pre-2010, this is when it came out, because I remember when it came out, all the party kids were drinking. When Four Loko first launched in 2005, it was infamous for combining alcohol, caffeine, plus energy drink ingredients like guarana and taurine. It was often called the blackout in a can. Alcohol by volume, 12 to 14%, depending on the flavor and the region.
Wow.
23.5 ounces, nearly 2 standard drinks in one can. The formula was banned in 2010 by the FDA due to safety concerns over mixing caffeine and alcohol. Several hospitals reported cases of alcohol poisoning and hospitalizations, especially among college students. So basically what was happening was in the early 2000s, there was a synonymous drink. You can still get it now where you go to the bar and they would mix liquor with Red Bull. And so some enterprising person said, well, why should you have to go to the bar to mix your Red Bull with your liquor? Let's make it and sell it in a can. We'll call it Four Loko because Loco means crazy. Post-2010 formula, caffeine-free. Boring. After FDA crackdown, Four Loko removed the caffeine, guarana, and gara, whatever the hell it is, relaunching as a straight high.
It didn't remove any of the alcohol.
Guano.
Just removed some of the other
guano.
shit.
Releasing as a straight high alcohol malt beverage. Current, as of 2025, is 12% to 14%, as low as 8% in such states of alcohol restriction. Fun fact, one can equals several beers. A single 23.5 ounce can of 14% Four Loko contained approximately 5.5 standard drinks based on the U.S. definition of a standard drink being 14 grams of pure alcohol. That's why in the early reputations of getting people drunk so very, very quickly. So yeah, Four Loko kind of met the demises that I assumed was going to meet the demise of the fine people at California Cooler, but it was the caffeine and once again not the amount of alcohol you can get in one can.
Well, when you define standard, that's when you get into trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I always like to exceed the standard. So, when I make my homemade stuff, if a little bit is good, a lot of it is better.
Yeah, did you guys ever make I think it's called Hairy Navel or something Moose?
I've heard of a hairy navel.
No, something Moose. It was a big thing in the 90s on OSU campus. I went to a party. You would go, you had to have quite a bit of money to afford this extravagance. You would preferably, not all college kids did, but you would preferably go down to a Lowe's or a Home Depot and get yourself a nice brand new rubber big ass trash can.
Jungle Juice.
Yeah.
Jungle Juice, there you go. And then he would fill it with bottles upon bottles of vodka, and then you throw watermelon chunks and whole grapes and oranges and apples and all that good stuff.
Fruit juice and Sprite and whatever you could put in there. And ours was Everclear or 151 or a combination of the both.
A party ball, for those of you hanging on waiting, because I asked earlier, 5.2 U.S. gallons is in a party ball.
Woo!
So when are we buying one?
That's 665.6 ounces.
So what do you do? But so between 5 and 8, you drink the party ball.
55
what do you
cups
do after
per
8
party
p.m.?
ball. What's that?
I said you drink the party ball between 5 and 8. What do you do after 8 p.m.?
You crack the fucking keg. What are you, lightweight? Party ball is just the starter. Party ball is what you get when you're not sure if you like the brand of beer. Give me a keg.
That's what you carry in your console in the
ball
center of your truck.
55 cups per party ball, based on 12-ounce cups.
12-ounce cups are for amateurs.
Yeah, but who's still making a party ball? Because just on a basic Google search,
well,
I think Anheuser-Busch stopped making them. According to this, it says it stopped making them around 2008, directly preceding the collapse of the U.S. financial system.
Because I know you saw in
Which
Columbus,
is when we needed party balls.
In Columbus,
right.
You'd have to go pick them up at the bottling place.
Yeah,
Originally,
it was
party
a big
ball,
plastic ball filled with 5 gallons of beer.
yeah, big old brown rubber. The original beer party balls, populated in the 1980s by the brand like Coors, Budweiser, and Guinness, have largely disappeared from the market. Major breweries ceased production by 2011 due to the declining demand and logistical challenges. While traditional beer balls are no longer widely produced, similar beverage containers are occasionally available. Yeah, like the mini kegs. You've seen those, right? They got the little
Tiny.
It's just a little baby boy mini keg.
Or the Fosters.
Yeah, Foster's.
If you're interested in exploring current options of alternative serving beverages, feel free to ask. No, I want to know who still makes a fucking party ball. Yeah.
So are either of you Guinness drinkers?
No.
I don't think I've ever actually had a real Guinness.
Okay.
Like
well,
a
then
traditional Guinness.
My follow-up question would be completely irrelevant.
What's that?
So we'll move on. Well, in America, a lot of people tend to drink Guinness cold, which is not how you're supposed to drink it. You're supposed to drink Guinness at room temperature. And it is so much better when it's warm than it is when it's cold.
I've had a Guinness. I've tried 2. But my buddy John, remember the story I told you about where we may have or may not have been drinking and driving into the the Denny's parking lot on Metro Boulevard back in the day? He introduced me to the Black and Tan. Now, those are pretty good. That's where you take a Guinness and a Bass. I think, is it a Bass? A Guinness and a Bass and mix those together. That's pretty damn good.
Well, Guinness actually has their own black and tan now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if you drink Guinness warm, it's far superior to drinking it cold.
Yeah, but don't a lot of other countries drink their beer warm anyway?
Mhm.
Because that's
Well, yeah,
the
but a
way it's
lot of
supposed to be.
countries, other countries drink their beer at 7 a.m. too.
Yeah, and that's you're considered an alcoholic if you do that here.
Yeah, which, I replace that reality, or I reject that reality and replace it with my own.
So, the world is quickly turning on Katy Perry and the Seven Astronauts.
Oh my gosh.
These bitches.
So before we get into that,
Mhm.
I heard something that just made me almost want to puke.
His name is Ralph.
So I heard sound bites on the radio the other day, and it was like, "Oh my God, this is just so great," or some shit like that. And I'm like, "Come the fuck on!" I don't even know which one of the tuna in the can said it, but it was just like, come on.
Okay, let me ask you this: before yesterday, did either of you know that this was even a planned launch? That this was a thing?
No, I got one more for you, Mike.
I heard about it.
You heard about it?
I did.
I don't exactly live under a can. I'm on all the social medias. I watch a lot of YouTube. I didn't even know this was in the planning stages. And so I asked our friend ChatGPT long before I saturated our results here with hot gold wine cooler talk. I said, when was the first story published about all the women blue origin story posted on the internet pre-flight? Because I was wondering, you figure something this big, something this historic, there would have been all these fluff pieces on, floating around. You would have seen some screenshots on Facebook. The first publication announcement of the Blue Origin's all-female space mission NS-31 was made on February 27th, 2025. So 2 months ago. You figure...
I didn't hear anything about it. But of course I also don't watch the Oprah Winfrey Network.
Making the first all-female space flight since the Valentina Turkinov solo mission in 1963. So you figure this would have been a kind of a bigger deal, especially with Katy Perry, right?
A major national news.
A major award.
So all this was Jeff Bezos sending his girlfriend and her friends up in a giant vibrator.
Following the announcements, various media outlets reported the mission. For instance, on March 1st, 2025, Greek Reporter, because, they got a huge fucking fan base. Not geek, but Greek. Greek Reporter published an article detailing. So, not exactly Time, New York Post, Washington Post, LA Times,
from Mykonos or
MSNBC, fucking CNN. These early reports play a significant role in informing the public about the historic nature of the mission, blah, blah, blah. Then I said, why was there so little news coverage on the story prior to the flight? Because once again, this is a big thing.
It was bullshit.
There are several reasons likely for the Blue Origin's all-women crew story to receive relatively little media coverage prior to the flight. Lack of live broadcasting or high-stakes mission. I don't think space travel is considered safe yet, is it? Wouldn't this still be considered a high-stakes mission? Unlike NASA or SpaceX
Did
missions,
they actually go to space?
They allegedly were weightless for a minute.
Allegedly?
It was one of those, they didn't go into orbit, but they got high enough in the atmosphere.
They were at the edge of space.
They did achieve weightlessness, allegedly, for a minute. Oversaturated. I love this 17? One. I know we're all fucking tired of turning on our phones and just one story after another of space flight news. According to ChatGPT, which we all know which way. The other reason no one of us heard about this prior to the flight was oversaturation of space flight news. Space tourism has become increasingly common over the last few years. Blue Origin, Virgin Gigantic, and SpaceX have all flown civilians. Media and public attention might have diluted due to the space flight fatigue. It's Katy fucking Perry. This isn't just 7 broads from your mom's book club. This is Katy Perry, Jeff Bezos' girlfriend, fucking Oprah's best friend. Some speculate others. Going back in the day, this is Gail. Gail and Katy Perry are going to space. Okay, Oversaturated. Let's move on.
Well, but let's be honest. For us, Gail and Katy Perry is like,
But this is
whatever.
still, they're going into allegedly space, to the fact that Katy Perry and them are now referring to themselves as astronauts.
Really?
But she's also a California girl, so what do you say?
So today I start seeing these videos.
Her and Snoop Dogg.
I've seen these videos speculating now that this thing was set up, it was fake, it was Fugazi. I don't know. I don't know.
Fugazi.
I don't know.
Fugazi.
I don't know how you would think you would get away from pulling a Fugazi, right? Now here's some of the speculations.
The problem is that they didn't have Stanley Kubrick directing this one.
So here's some of the
like they did the moon landing.
So here's some of the evidence that the tinfoil hat community is pointing out. One of the big ones, you go back and look at any sort of vehicle that's gone into atmosphere, at least come down in that high temperature heat, they got a little bit of carbon on the outside. They're a little smudgy, maybe
Hey,
you
let's
dropped
get
it
real
in the
here.
grill.
It's burnt to a fucking crisp.
This thing came down looking like a
skid marks on that bitch.
This thing came down
That's
on
from astronauts shitting their
parachutes.
pants.
This thing came down on parachutes, landed in the desert, and it looked like a brand new Tesla. I know it's a completely different brand, but it looked like a brand new white Tesla just pulled off the fucking lot. So that's the one people are calling foul. 2, you got the helicopter flying around. This didn't land in the ocean like most space capsules do, right? Every NASA capsule.
I believe the reason why they do that is to cool them off.
So this one didn't land in the ocean like every single space capsule in the world, with the exception of SpaceX, where they actually capture their shit and re-land it. This thing plopped down in the desert.
Hold on, did they capture their capsules, or do they capture the rockets?
They capture the rockets. The capsules, I still think, land in the ocean. Yeah, they do, because they were talking about.
I think they're going to move on to that point where they're going to try to attempt test flights and stuff like that.
But
I think that's bullshit. I don't think they're going to be able to do that.
But the point is that every other company lands their shit in the water. This one lands in the desert. There's footage. Now, this could be all doctored. I'm not saying I believe this shit. This is just what you're seeing. Somebody could very quickly edit this. But there is footage of Bezos walking around touching the thing with his bare hands. Now, it could have been sitting there for 4 hours, cooling down. I don't think the live stream showed them sitting there for 4 hours. So that was a thing. And then there's another one. Could be doctored. Don't know. They're showing it parachuting down. It's a little live streaming. They've been live streaming this whole thing for the entire 9.5 minutes. It makes contact. We're going to cut the... Oh, our feed froze up. We're back live.
I hate that shit when that happens.
Now they're back live. The thing's on the ground. They got the little ceremonial steps pushed up. And you got Jeff Bezos and a set producer standing off to the side, probably thinking they're at commercial or what have you. You see the capsule door open from the inside. The set producer runs over there, says something like, and it could, like they said, NASA, space standards, they have to have the ability to get themselves out. And so Bezos could say, come out and say, yeah, we were setting up a ceremonial opening of the casket, but they're trying to pass this off that this is standard protocol.
Casket.
So casket. And so
but that door looks like it's made out of plywood.
So they shut the door, and then he goes over there with this 3-prong magic key and pops it open and cracks the thing open, a rush of fresh air. And then they all come out, and someone else pointed out, like, granted, they're only in space for 7 minutes. This mission was announced 2 months ago. Granted, it's space tourism. You're not going to go to NASA boot camp for 6 years. It's space tourism. You guys have been to Universal Studios, right?
I have not, but I get the gist of it.
Mike, you ever seen the Tower of Doom?
We gotta go.
You seen the Tower of Doom?
Yes.
For those who don't know, the Tower of Doom, it's based off of Dr. Doom on Spider-Man. Spider-Man. You get in the chair. Some of it shoots you straight up from 0 to 40. You come up, you come down, you bounce back up, you bounce back down. you see 19-year-old girls after that 3.5-second ride, a little green or definitely excited. The footage of these 7 chicks walking out of this thing after they allegedly shot in a fucking orbit, came around for 11 minutes, came plummeting through the atmosphere, coming down on a parachute, making a giant thud, and they open up and walk out like they just pulled up to the mall in their SUV. Mm-hmm. And so
it is possible that Gayle King might have had a similar ride prior to this. I don't know. I mean, Oprah looks like she could be a beast. Just saying.
I think Katy Perry spends her weekends driving in F1 cars, getting some G training in. Look, all I'm saying is you could take...
I think she got some G training from Snoop Dogg, but I'm not sure.
All I'm saying is you could take, like, anybody. I don't care how hardcore you are. You could probably take someone who's gone skydiving 50 times. You put them in a rocket, even if it's for space tourism, I think they might be at least a little fucking amped up. Like, holy shit, just to come out and look like, yeah, that was fun. Yeah, what's next? That's old.
I mean, you've been on the edge of fucking space. I mean, let's be honest. That's got to be a moving thing. And just to come back and be like, my life is so fucking good that this is nothing to me.
Well, and perfect hair. No, issues, perfect makeup.
Yeah, no
zero
G hair. I mean, what kind of hairspray?
It's not like they were fucking rocketing back towards the Earth at 1,000,000 degrees. I'm sure those capsules get a little warm.
Not even so much as a sweaty armpit.
Not even a fucking sweaty taint or nothing.
G-forces during the Blue Origin flight. Launch phase, G-forces around 3 Gs. This means the body feels 3 times heavier than normal. Most passengers experience this only for a few seconds during maximum acceleration before the boosters cut off. Microgravity phase.
But let's be honest, Katy Perry, that's like 12 pounds.
G-force, 0 Gs. So for about 3 to 4 minutes, they're weightless. The descent, everybody thinks it's going up to get you. 3 Gs with rockets under your ass. Guess how quickly Mother Earth returns your ass to the surface, unassisted from rockets? 5.5 Gs.
5.5?
5.5 Gs during the atmospheric re-entry.
Yeah.
G-forces
having your asshole cheeks fucking clapping and shit.
And
so
then,
what's the temperature
hold on. During the
re-entry?
parachute landing, you go from 3 Gs down to 1.
Ugh.
And then you walk out. And you hold up your little
pain.
dandelion, not even so much as a titty sweat. And so it's like...
Niente.
Now, if this thing does come out to be fake, do they say, well, technically we were planning on launching on April 1st. We missed our window. Or, this was a bamboozle. Will this... If it does come out that this was a fugazi, will it negatively affect Gayle, Katy Perry, and the crews?
They won't.
Oh no, because it'll be. I told Jeff Bezos that I was going to, whatever it took to get me to space or the edge of space. If he didn't send me, fuck that guy.
But what if we find out that they never went? That it was an empty rocket? The reason the live stream cut out is because they opened a container. They all hopped inside.
No, but I never knew that I wasn't going to space. I thought I was going to space. Jeff Bezos ripped me off.
Do you produce your NDA? Like, he made me sign this NDA. I couldn't talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that, as many conspiracies that pop out about it.
Pop out.
Nothing is ever going to... You're never going to know the real story. They're not going to say anything.
And that's the reality. Now nobody will give a shit anyway.
Right, but that's the reality of conspiracy theories, right? You never really know the truth. You never really know. It's
going back to what
theory.
I was joking about earlier. The fact that the moon launch was a fake,
right?
And that Stanley Kubrick, directed it in a sound studio somewhere in New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
I had a thought, but I lost my train.
No. Come back.
So, do you have a D train of thought?
Oh, but my thought detrained. But yeah, I don't know. Now the sad thing is, based on what they're saying, this thing was true. Could you imagine organizing this? You launch these chicks up into space. Yeah, one of them accidentally opened the hatch before his time because they're fucking excited to be back on Earth. Maybe they had to go throw up. You had to do your ceremony opening. All this thing comes out. Now the entire internet thinks you faked this shit. And it happens during the time when all the conspiracies of the last 30 years turned out to be fucking true. And now your job is, no, seriously, guys, we did this shit. No, I understand that all this shit, this really happened.
We just went to space, opened the door.
I mean, could you imagine that this is true? This really happened. Now you're like, no, wait a minute. No, I understand that the JFK shit was fake. I understand that all this shit. That'd be a hard job for PR.
So, can you imagine, like 60 years from now, the congressional hearings on should we release the documents about whether the Katy Perry and Gayle King trip to the edge of space was real?
Well, see, that technically, I mean, if someone could prove damages, like because of this, over the next 5 years, X amount of money was boosted into space tourism, thinking this was real and it wasn't, and they could prove huge damages, all this money, that could very well happen.
I think that we should all file a suit for the damages that we all suffered spending the last 10 minutes talking about this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
So
I'm calling
while
bullshit.
we've got a lull here, just want to pay my respects to Wink Martindale.
Mm-hmm.
Having grown up in the late 70s and through the 80s, a lot of summer mornings were spent watching Tic-Tac-Doe and many of his other shows. So I think, if I remember correctly, he was 91. So rest in peace, Wink Martindale.
Mm-hmm. All the good ones are going. I'm not going to get into it here because it's still developing, but guys should check out Candace Owens' YouTube channel. She's been talking about this Hollywood trainer, Harley Pasternak or something like that. It's a German name. Apparently, he was Yeezy's trainer, Kanye West. And when Kanye started reading Bible passages and all these other things, this dude threatened to, have an issue.
I don't think that he got it right with the passage of "Let all the children come to me."
But anyhow, he started, doing some shady shit, threatening to ruin his career. And so Candace Owens started looking at this guy. This guy was the personal trainer to Brittany Murphy, who died. Mac Miller.
Oh, yeah, 2009.
Mac Miller, who died. Aaron Carter. Long story short, this guy's starting to get a long list of celebrities who've overdosed and had problems. But the crazier thing is, his grandfather was on part of the congressional investigation in 1970. He played one of the key roles of the CIA operatives. You ever listen to Joe Rogan when he's talking about the CIA study on LSD and impacts that it would have in the 70s?
Oh, no, I haven't listened to that.
Was
but I have heard
Operation?
about it.
What is it called? Operation. Oh, anyhow, so in the 70s, the CIA was testing out LSD on the fact of people and how they could possibly use it. And some people claims that Charles Manson was one of these test subjects. This guy's grandfather was the dude running that operation. And he was brought up in front of Congress talking about the LSD study. And apparently Candace Owens doing like a whole thing on this guy's family history. And his father, his grandfather, they all have ties with like secret government insanity. And so now they're like, well, your grandfather's part of that LSD program. Your father was doing this shady shit. And now you have this long list of celebrities who end up dead when they want to start turning their back on on Hollywood and talking about how evil they are and the pedophilia and all this stuff. And so people are starting to tie things together. Like, is there actually truth to the conspiracies of the underground Hollywood, elitists who control everything? And is this guy
Is the Illuminati real?
Is this guy one of their henchmen? So it's been interesting. I don't have all the details. It's happening in real time, but it's a pretty crazy story to start seeing. Wait a minute, Brittany Murphy, Aaron Carter, and Mac Miller, all under this guy's care. And
so I only saw the story about Brittany Murphy on social media today.
Yeah.
And I just kind of glazed over it. I'm like, oh, that was sad. And I didn't really read the story because I should have been working. But
and so that craziness is going on.
Did she overdose, or she overdosed?
Brittany Murphy?
She died of pneumonia.
Yeah. And then Mac Miller overdosed. And there's a couple other big names I can't remember off the top of my head that she was talking about. And so they're like listing off all these people like, that's peculiar. But how crazy would it be like if Candace Owen ended up cracking this, finds out this guy's like the Ray Donovan.
But you know what? If it's going to be anybody, it'll be her. Yeah. Because she's a bulldog.
Yeah, because she's doing the story
and
on...
hopefully she'll figure out that, what's the guy's name?
McCrone?
Didn't hang himself.
Oh, yeah.
Epstein, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she did the documentary on McCrone's wife. You hear about that?
Yeah. Oh,
husband? Yeah. So, allegedly, the president of France's wife is a dude, which in and of itself isn't a story. Who cares? So he's got a trainee for a husband.
So is Obama's wife, but whatever.
Well, actually, Candace said she don't believe in that one. But anyhow, apparently over in France, their new president's got a trainee wife, is very progressive, so all the lefties want to do stories on this woman. Hey, let's do a puff piece on the new wife. They're not doing the trainee angle. There's the new wife.
The new wife.
There's an age difference. It's great. It's progressive. And so these leftist journalists, why can't we find any existence of this woman prior to 2008, 2010, whatever it was when they got married? And they started raising questions. Well, that's not even the story. So, yes, the dude was a dude. The dude was Macron's teacher. He was like 35 when Macron was 14. And what Candace uncovered is his wife, this dude, has worked his way up into some of the largest political and powerful groups of people, business, the fucking worst people in the world, the people who probably went to Homeboy's Island. Long story short, like she said, this isn't a story about a president married to a dude. This is a story about a 14-year-old who was groomed by a pedophile who has, allegedly, don't sue me, who has associations with some of the highest ranking people in France and who had people in her inner circle who've been arrested for pedophile activities. And basically it sounded like, I haven't watched the 8-part series, but it sounded like they're kind of saying, hey, this could be the keystone to uncovering the, once again, the conspiracy, the world's ran by pedophiles and blah, 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 blah. Well, there may be some to it, and this may be the exposure to it. So the story wasn't who cares that he's a dude. It's, wait a minute, they met when he was 14 and dude was 30 and they started a relationship.
So back in my high school, which will remain unnamed, we had a French teacher who was probably in his late 20s, early 30s, and used to speak very lewdly in French to one of his students.
Lewd, crude dude.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Now, if I was a 28-year-old dude, 30-year-old dude, maybe, but whatever. So this girl turns 18, her and dude get married. As far as I know, they're still together.
How old was he?
But I mean, that was like, you know,
How
a
old was he?
zillion fucking years ago.
How old was he?
But so, I mean, that shit's been going on for
I
a
know, but
long
how
ass
old was
time.
he?
28, I think he said.
28. And how old
I
was
mean,
she
he
when they
was like
met?
in his late 20s, early
And she
30s.
was like 17.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it
Uh,
was wrong as wrong could
Yeah,
be.
but there's still a far cry
But,
between 17 and 14. At least, 17, you're mentally,
well, true,
yeah.
true. But I knew a guy in the army who he was 19, had a 17-year-old or a 17-year-old girlfriend.
Mm.
And parents were cool with that, whatever, until it got really super serious. She was about to turn 18. They called the cops and had him arrested
Mm-hmm.
because he was 19 and she was 17. He got a dishonorable discharge from the army, had to register as a sex offender, ruined his life
Mm-hmm.
because mom and dad thought that, it was just like a passing phase,
I know
whatever.
somebody else that happened
And
to. He was held back, so he was a year older than everybody in his class. He was 16, started dating a 15-year-old. He turned 17, she
mhm,
turned 16. They're still dating. 17, 16, they started having sex. She turned 17, he turned 18, she got pregnant. Dad got pissed, got him arrested. When he went to court, he was on one side of the court with the baby, with his girlfriend and their child, cohabitating in a fucking apartment because it took so long to go to court. And he still got the same result. How are you going to say this is a
yep.
victim when we are cohabitating in an apartment? We are now married,
And she was probably 18 at the time.
and there's a year difference. Once again, I'm not talking 30 and 14. I'm talking I'm 17, she's 16. We're both seniors in high school because I got held back. It's not like I graduated 5 years ago and I'm scooping the fucking high school parking lot. We're in the same English class. I mean, come
Well,
on.
You'd
that's
be a lot
actually
cooler if you did.
that's actually interesting because I almost got
What's
caught
that
up in
quote?
I
I
almost got
keep
caught up in
getting
that.
older and they keep getting younger or
I
some
get
shit
older,
like
they stay the
that.
same age.
I almost got caught up in a situation like that because there was this girl that wanted to date me
Mm-hmm.
when I had just turned 18. I got out of basic. I turned 18 in basic. I went back to high school and I went to high school for another semester. And this girl she lived not far away from me and we at the time we rode the bus together because I didn't have a car. And she wanted to date me and I was like, no, like it just she was 14 and like she was
Ugh.
a freshman or a sophomore or something like that in high school because I
Mhm.
got held back in third grade.
Yeah.
So I was, older than my actual classmates.
Yeah. Same as
So
I was 18. I just turned 18. No, I graduated on June 6th
Mhm.
and I turned 18 on June 29th.
right. And it was a situation where I was like, no, like, you're nice and all, but I'm not, not interested.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I got a phone call from my recruiter one day, and he was blowing up at me, like fucking drilling me, like, because supposedly she had told her mom that we had sex, and she had told her mom that another she had sex with another kid. It was
So
like
what you're
18
saying
or
is you're a
something like that.
whore.
Right. And it had gone to the school and all this that and the other, and ultimately it was because I was like, no, I don't want to date you or whatever. So she ended up lying
You
and
hurt her
saying that we
pride,
had
so she
sex,
stick it to you. Yep.
and
Hell
exactly,
hath no
and
work.
yeah,
Hell hath
and
no
I got
fury like a
I
woman scorned.
yeah, and I got I mean, he was like, "Are you 100 like you didn't do that?" And I was like, "No,
I
like
think I
I
would
fucking
know.
told her I didn't want to." So I had to go down to the fucking police department, and they were talking at 18 years old. I'd never been in trouble really in my entire life, and I'm down there talking to two
Really.
detectives in a fucking interrogation room, and they're asking me like all
Wow.
these questions and stuff like that, and I was like, "Look, this is the situation. I go to school with this
Mm.
girl. I ride the bus with her. She lives down the road from me. She asked me if she wanted to date, or she, you know, she told me multiple times that she wanted to date me and blah 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 blah, and I was like, I just, you know, I didn't want to do it. And they had told me that, you know, her mother is looking to press charges, and if you know it comes out that, you know, you did that, you will be registered as a sex offender, and I would have been, my whole life would have been fucking over, all because this girl wanted to be a fucking bitch and fucking say that I did something that I didn't do. And I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. But when I got done
Well,
talking to the,
it's kind of the same thing with the current state of child support.
yeah,
You know, you bang this guy and get pregnant, and then you don't want to be together,
hmm,
but you're going to punish this guy. You know, he was good enough for you to have his dick in you,
hmm,
but he's not good enough to be with you.
yeah,
But you're going to punish him because he got you pregnant.
right,
Well,
yeah,
And you might
and
edit this out. I don't know. I mean, that's pretty strong.
but yeah, I mean, it just, you know, it was a situation where I was like, you know, I didn't even fucking do anything. I was nice to this fucking girl. I just didn't want to fucking date her because
Well,
of
and
that
that's the
situation.
thing. It's like don't reject them
Yeah.
because you know you know she'll boil your bunny.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know.
I see Don gets it. Mike, yeah. Have you ever seen Fatal Attraction, Mike?
No, I haven't.
yeah, she
Yeah,
boils it
you should
forever.
check it out.
Yeah.
It's like the perfect 80s um documentary
Hmm.
of, you know, something that so there was this guy in the 90s and early 2000s on the West Coast. His name was Tom Likas.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
He was still there in 2000 when I lived there.
Okay. So you're familiar with him. Enter Sandman is his opening. And I personally think that the guy was like a spot on, better than Howard Stern ever was. But his thing was all women are crazy.
Hmm.
It's just a matter of to what
That's
degree.
Stan Haney's thing
Right.
And
too.
the hotter they are, the crazier they are.
Now, just we'll get off the conspiracy topic here after this, but another thing that she brought up on Theo Vaughn's show, Candace Owens. No, not Theo Vaughn's. She was on Megyn Kelly's show.
Mm.
No, sorry, not Megyn Kelly. The mean fucking fitness chick who used to be a coach on Biggest Loser.
Oh,
The lesbian chick. Oh,
the dark haired one. I
she
can
was
see her,
considered
but
the
I can't
bitch.
think of her name.
Yeah. Biggest Loser.
Oh.
The fitness chick. She was a real mean. Julia Michaels. She's a real ball buster.
Yeah.
She's a lesbian. She's adopted children. She has a mixed race family. She has left California after the pandemic because she realized people losing their fucking mind. Anyhow, she had Candace Owens on there, and they're talking about all these different things. And somehow they got on the Harvey Weinstein thing, and Candace was like, "You won't believe this." And Julia Michaels was like, "You can't convince me that what Harvey Weinstein did wasn't bad." She's like, "No, Harvey Weinstein's an asshole and a creep."
Oh, he's a horrible human being.
But she's like, what no one talked about, all the women who claim that he raped them and was having sex with them in hotels for movie roles, they gave very descriptive retellings of the actions he required them to do, which included manipulation to his scrotum. But the reason those were thrown out of court because apparently Harvey Weinstein had his balls removed 10 years prior because he had fucking gangrene. So these women are saying that he did all this horrible shit to him and made him do things with his nuts that he didn't have. And no, I don't think he has nudicles either, Morgan. But yeah.
But hold on.
Yep.
Hold on. If you have your testicles removed, not necessarily did you have your scrotum removed.
Well, no, they're talking about manipulating his balls, not an empty sack of skin. But they weren't able, and apparently.
But if they are talking about technically, if you know, if you are going textbook definition, if they are manipulating his scrotum is still going to be there, even if they remove his testicles.
Yes, but the only problem with that is, once again, you have to watch the interview, and she's working on a story. apparently they were asked by the police to describe his bait and tackle, and no,
Put some marbles up in that shit.
well,
I don't know.
not even that. No interesting feature. No. Apparently his balls are like green, and the sack is scarred up and deformed from the gangrene. So like if you were giving this dude a blowjob,
Like a wadded up
you would at
Walmart
least say,
bag,
yeah,
or
he had a birthmark on his right testicle the size of a fucking sausage. No, I guess this dude's shit is empty, green, and yellow. You would know that if you were down there, right? I mean, you all remember the one girl you were with whose left nipple was a little bit smaller than the right one. You figured that out. But this guy has green and yellow.
But I still didn't care.
No, the guy's still a fucking creep. But yeah, and all this ties into what she's been working on about how when you don't fall in line in Hollywood, the people in power find ways to destroy you. And so, not saying that Harvey didn't do this horrible shit.
Bag,
yeah.
Man.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, it's interesting that the amount of shit that's coming out, and it'd be interesting to see how much of this shit is true that no one wants to talk about.
So real quick, I'm not up on pop culture a whole bunch, as far as
apparently
Hollywood.
We didn't know there were 7 chicks flying into space on a giant penis 3 days ago, but here we are.
Well, I mean, the fact that Gayle King was on a dick is absolutely amazing to me. But, that's beside the point.
I can't sit here and stand for you making homophobic comments to our lesbian sisters. And I'll tell you this.
You are so progressive, Don. I love you.
Well, first and foremost, my aunt came out of the closet when I was in fucking kindergarten. She's been with the same woman for 35 years. But besides the point.
Beautiful.
Besides the point. As a straight, woman-loving dude who has a black belt in bow-tongue foo, wouldn't it make more sense that we would have more in common with a woman who loves vagina as much as we do? Wouldn't you rather sit around hanging out with lesbians talking about look at her ass opposed to talking to straight women about fucking cock and balls all night? No, bring me the lesbians all day
I have
long.
had more fun with my lesbian friends. I have more in common with them
than I do the straight women. At least we appreciate the same thing. It's like when you show up to the car club and you all like Honda Civics. I'd rather hang out with a bunch of Honda Civic lovers than the fucking Toyota Corolla lovers.
Friends when I was single.
Yeah. So I would rather hang out with the Volkswagen Beetle fans instead of the fucking Subaru fans. Oh, wait a minute, that don't work in this equation. I want to hang out with the Subaru
wait a
fans.
Second. I'd rather hang out with the Subaru fans because most of them are lesbians.
That's what I just said. Yeah, that didn't work out.
And, hanging out with a lesbian, at least there's a possibility that you're close to a vagina as opposed to a dick.
That too.
Would you rather go to a sausage party or would you rather be around a bunch
I mean,
of
eventually you're going to get around one that can't be turned and they're going to throw them your way.
Sure.
I had a weird thought the other day.
I don't know. You might want to cut that one out too.
I'll drop a Q on that one too. I had a weird thought the other night. We'll wrap it up. I was having a lot of weird thoughts. I think we brought this up on the show. You know why the kids use the phrase Riz? Man, you see the Riz on that guy? That guy's full of Riz.
Charisma?
Exactly.
Yeah. A regular Don Juan.
Juan.
Now, Morgan, you're on the front side of this. Mike's on the back side of this, so I don't know where you guys laid. Morgan, did your generation say psych or not?
Oh, absolutely.
Which one? Psych or not? It was 2 different schools. There was a transition from the
psych
period to the
100%.
Now,
it's like, yeah, we're going to give you whatever. Psych.
Now, our generation after, the metalheads from the 80s will claim to give the credit to Anthrax, but in the late 90s, it's not. Hey, you're not. Instead of psych, it was not. NOT. But why? Did you ever wonder why psych? Why? What the hell does psych mean?
At the time, I really didn't wonder much
Me
anything.
Neither. But I was thinking about it the other day. Based off of what we just discussed about the word Riz, I had a thought of why we used the word psych.
What's its origin from?
I didn't even look it up. I think I figured it out. What's the spelling of the phrase?
S-I-K-E.
Well, I mean,
that's what Carrie
I
thought.
guess psycho or psychology or
Carrie thought it was psych, and I Googled it. I said, no, it's PHYC. And she's like, no, it's SIK. And so I Googled it, and it's PHYC. And Morgan, yes, you're playing psychological games on people, right? You want to come to my house on Saturday? Psych. Yeah, so it was abbreviation of
it's
psychological
just basically the
warfare.
mind fuck.
Yeah, so that's why we used the phrase psych, but it probably started at college, but we were using it in elementary school. It never occurred to us.
Word,
exactly. Word to your mother.
Word to your mother.
Here's another fun regional
Not.
thing. When I lived in Kentucky, it was cut. Don't cut in line. A standard colloquial. He cut in line. He cut me. Sure. And then the teacher said, he didn't cut you. He didn't have no scissors. He had dad jokes.
Oh, if you cut somebody, you got your ass kicked.
So in Kentucky, it was cutting. When I moved to Ohio, it was called dishing. And I was like, what the? He dished in line. What the hell does that mean? Yeah, I don't know why we
never heard that.
In Ohio, in the 90s, it was called dishing, and I don't know why. I guess I can chat GPT it, but what did you guys just cutting in line goes back to the fucking 40s. I don't know why.
Yeah, no cuts, bitch.
Yeah, what'd you call it in your era, Mike? Just cutting.
Please do not jump in line in front of me because it offends me and hurts my feelings.
Oh, fuck you. I'm not that young. That's not my fucking generation.
Please, sir. No jumping in line.
It was yeah, you cut me, or cut in line, stuff like that. Just typical phrases. Honestly,
we even had that in the Army. Some guys tried to cut in line in front of us to get chow.
Hey,
and it was almost
get in the back, you fucking asshole.
It's like, look, you fuck, you get in front of me, I'm going to kick your ass. I don't care who's watching.
Yeah. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the What's in Your Head podcast. Thank you guys so much. And as always, please head over to whatsinyourhead.com, click on the Patreon link, sign up and subscribe. You'll be eligible for all the giveaways. All you have to do is be a registered member to have your name entered into the giveaways. We give away all kinds of cool stuff. The next thing we're giving away at the end of this month is the Houdini Club. This is the pre-sale version. It's a great story about how the Army Rangers came to be, but more importantly, how the guys who were captured by the Italians and the Germans during World War II, how they escaped. Hence the name, the Houdini Club, is about how they escaped being captured and getting back to freedom. But it's a very good story. All you got to do is be a registered member of Patreon, and you'll be eligible to have that book and some stickers sent your way. And as always, head over to youtube.com, look for D410 Media and Poles and Paddles. Mike and I's video will be up there in a few days. Thank you guys so much. And as always, we will talk to you all next week. Bye.
This has been a Digital 410 production.